morning ride down 684, autopilot engaged. It's yelling at me. Listen to some Rogan. Enjoying the morning, I guess. If you can enjoy a 6 a.m. wake up. But it is nice not to have to drive, that's for sure. Just let the car do its thing. Get in the right lanes. I set it to 70 and we just cruise. Cruise. It is wonderful. And it is raining a little bit. It just calmed down a little bit. It was raining a little heavier a minute ago. You can see the autopilot has no problem with rain, light rain. I mean, if you get into heavier stuff, it might tell you to take over. And to be honest, you probably shouldn't be running it without, in some of the heavier weather. Heavy weather, though, I would say. But this is 6:84 in the morning when we're just cruising down the road, man. Just cruising. It's set to a space of 3 on the stay-back distance, which is where I feel comfortable, especially with a wetter road. I'd probably go 3 or 4. And it just keeping its distance, keeping its pace. See, I got my odometer up on my lifetime miles. I'm at 27,000 miles today on this car. Craziness. I've only had it for a year and year and 2 months now. A year and 3 months. But, it's too many miles, man. Too many miles. And that was with 3 months of staying home and working from home. Yeah. Well, good morning to y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's feeling okay. Just craziness out there. Be safe. Stay safe. Little morning update, a little morning ride in, a little calming morning ride in. Here's a little guy on the side of the road. Probably should move over, but we're not going to because whatever. It's out of the way. Definitely love this autopilot. I mean, this is the 37,000 version of this car that goes about 240 miles. Now I think it does 250. They did something with it to give it a couple more miles, and it goes. I mean, I don't have to charge. Normally we can get everything we ever needed to get done. Sometimes I'll stop at the charger once in a blue if I have to. You don't really have to, and it's so quick to stop at the charger. It's really inconsequential. Most of the time I just plug it home to my dryer, and I wake up in the morning with a full tank or a full battery, and that's it. Perfect. Never have to stop at the gas station, never have to do any of that crap. You just drive to work. It is absolutely wonderful car. Now, autopilot, again, it's autopilot, not full self-driving. So, autopilot, no full self-driving. This comes with the car at $37,000, which is around your average price for a brand new car in this country. And again, $37,000. And if you're driving like me 100 miles a day or 180 miles a day, you're going to save $2,000 a year in gas, versus electric. And my electric rates are pretty high. Although I did learn today that some people are paying like 60 cents a kilowatt hour in California, but I am paying 21 cents a kilowatt hour, and which is high for the area, in my area. If you were in NYSEG's territory and you could charge on the time of use night plan, you would pay like almost 14 or 12 cents a kilowatt hour. So you would really be saving yourself some cash using the time of use plan in NYSEG's area. This is I'm on Eversource in Connecticut, and they're just a rip. And no time of use plan, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. You see, now I've taken over the car because I'm getting this lane and slow down, especially with the wet roads. This is the Sawmill now. We're off on Sawmill Parkway. which normally I just let it drive itself, and I will today as well, even though it's raining. It's just there's certain corners that are tight and a little skittish, and I like to have. I'll keep my hand on the wheel as always. I always keep my hand on the lower portion of the wheel, but for the most part. But I just like to. You can hear the engaging of the full self or autopilot right there, and there's just a couple corners that it does it. I've definitely let it do the whole Sawmill Parkway, and it does it. But there's just some areas that are a little in my brain where I'm like, I can't let it take control. I gotta take control. Actually, that's not even true. I don't even take control. Sometimes I just lower the speeds because it's much smoother on the lower speed. I mean, if you set this thing to 70 or 75 on the Sawmill, forget about it. It first of all, it doesn't seem safe. Second of all, I don't know what it would do. I've never really done it. I did it once, and it didn't feel comfortable. I set it to 64, which is a reasonable speed for Sawmill. People are not happy sometimes, but that's whatever. I'm in the right lane. I'm doing 64. It's perfectly fine for me. So, but you can see it's working perfectly. So I know a report just came out about Consumer Reports testing full self-drive. This is one of the corners now. Here, I personally slow it down a lot. You can see it's a tight corner, but it takes it. It's not a problem. It's just that it makes it I feel a little hairy about it, so I always slow it down. Not that it matters. The people in front of me are slowing down anyway. They're 50 miles an hour. But yeah, it's definitely a good option, the basic autopilot. Now, full self-drive will do a couple more features, and I'm going to tell you that full self-drive does the one feature that I miss, or that I want, which is lane changes. So if this car had full self-drive, and I clicked the blinker down, it would go into the left lane when clear. So I want that so bad, because that would mean I wouldn't have to disengage. Right now, when I have to make a lane change, I have to disengage the autopilot, and that's when you hear the ding ding, and then it goes back to ding ding to change daytime. But I have to disengage the autopilot, which first world problems, but it would be nice if I could switch lanes, if it would do it on its own. That I feel like that should be part of the autopilot package. I don't know why. I know they're trying to sell you stuff, and listen, I believe in the mission and I want the autopilot. And I think the worst decision I made when buying this car was not buying full self-drive when I bought the car. I should have put it into my loan and not even thought about it. It should have just been what I should have just done it. I don't know. At the time it was $6,000, and I was like, oh, $6,000 more. But in the loan, I probably wouldn't have even noticed it barely. I don't even know why I did that. But yeah, I should have just bought it back then. It would have made more sense. Now it's up to $8,000, and now I have to buy it on, like a credit card or something, and that sucks. And I don't know. I can't justify it. Just to switch lanes in my head. I want it. I want the full self-drive. I want to be a robo-taxi when I can, and send my car out in Hawthorne. This is another spot where I feel like it is a little iffy. It's not, and again, I shouldn't say iffy. If I lowered it down, it's fine. Lower the speed a little bit, I go down to 60 in this corner. But at the same time, it's a wet road, so I'd rather just manually. You can see I drive worse than the autopilot sometimes. The autopilot is really smooth. It's just a little gets a little close to the line once in a while. That's my only gripe with the autopilot. Certain spaces, certain spots, it gets a little bit close to the line than you would like. But once you get used to it, where it happens, especially on your commute. If you're commuting, you're doing the same route every day pretty much. You know where it's going to happen. You know when it's going to happen. You know when certain things could arise. Oh, got something in my throat. And you'll definitely start to see what's going on with it. But yep, daily commute with Tesla Autopilot, and you can see it's really starting to pick up in the rain, and the car is going through the corners just fine. I got it set to 64. Like I said, that's about my speed usually on the Sawmill. and it's actually only going 59 because it's pacing the car in front of me. So wipers are on auto. They seem to be doing much better than they always were. They just come on when you need them. Lights is the same on auto. It comes on when you need them. Yeah, SR Plus, $37,000 with autopilot. All this is included and could be yours at this low price of $37,000. Now, again, if you figure in you're going to have the car for 10 years and you're saving $2,000 a year minus $20,000 from that price. I mean, that's it. You know, if you can get this car to go 10 years, and so far in my year of ownership, I have done really nothing to it. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. There was a little bit of warranty work on the charge port. They had a recall on it, or not a recall, but they had a service bulletin on it that the pins were loose, so one of the pins came off. It's still charged with the pin off. It was just, they said you're better off fixing it, so they did the charge port, and that's about it. I mean, I hit a curb with it once. That was my fault. Did a little road rash on the rims, but that was my fault, so I did a ball bearing in the front just to be safe. And even that was like a $250, where, normally that's good. In a car, it's going to be a bearing plus a, whatever, an axle. It's usually you get into a repair bill for $400 or $500 when you're talking about a regular car. Most times, this one, was cheap. It was cheap, if you ask me. But yeah, it is so far so good. No repairs, no nothing else. No mechanical situation. Tires are looking good at 27,000 miles. Again, I'm not ripping around like a maniac. Sometimes when I hit the red light, I like to do a little, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, 5 seconds. I think it's 4.9 at this point. And you can see it. I'm not touching anything. It's just stopping on its own. It's keeping its distance. See, we're at a light. I don't know if I've ever shown what happens at a light. So you can see it leaves a little bit much distance. The people behind you get a little upset with that when you leave distance, but it closes in when it knows we're at the stoplight. And then, personally, you can see on the screen, there are the lights there. And you can see when you get a little closer, they'll actually be registered as green. That's what the car sees. And you can see it's doing its thing. It's just keeping its distance, Again, some people get upset that you have so much distance between the car in front of you sometimes. It's very weird. Things you don't think about. But usually I was the one in the left lane doing 100 miles an hour. And now definitely, autopilot has calmed me down on the roads. Calmed me down. So just let it do its thing. All right. Well, hope everyone has a good day. Be careful. Be safe. I'll talk to you later.